what's it about? So I'd like to throw it out there, and the question is, or the topic is innovative approaches to travel and tourism. What can we say that's going on that's innovative, that we like about the travel and tourism industry? So I don't know. Greetings, Sam. Greetings, Lydia. Would you like to take part in this conversation about innovative travel and tourism? Okay, Atiba. Yes.
First of all, guys, what's it called? Obviously, as you can probably see, every now and again, my camera keeps on shaking. So when I stop the video, it's not to fully stop the video, it's just literally because it keeps shaking. But yes, welcome again all. Big up to Isis, Elena, Sina, Lydia, who are all here so far. We should have some more people joining us as the night goes on, but this is our 5th one and it's beautiful and we've been growing. Innovation in terms of traveling. Well, what's it called? Even today, basically, I was doing innovative things in regards to traveling. What's it called? Branding with Virgin Atlantic, alongside British Airways, and speaking to different individuals from within the travel industry. Obviously, it would have been greater to have some of them join us today, but as time goes on, we're going to have that. But yeah. And we've got Matthew Christmas, who's just joined us as well.
Great. So we're kicking things off. Innovation in travel and tourism. What does that mean? Matthew, you've unmuted yourself. Did you want to say something? No, he's connecting to audio. No, okay. Would any one of you like to contribute? Your opinions, your views? Elena, yeah?
I don't really know what, exactly could change other than a different way of doing things, but I don't know exactly what that will be because I don't really have like the knowledge or, any experience around that type of...
No, but you know what, sis? Can I put it to you this way? What is it about travel and tourism perhaps that you don't like? Particularly when it comes to the Caribbean. And, maybe if you think about it that way, you could think about the things you could change.
I would say the expense obviously is the one thing compared to other places in the world that you can go to. Some are like 21 hours away are cheaper than going 10 hours away to the Caribbean. I think a more, sustainable accommodation that we can stay in back home. I know that St. Vincent are starting now because they've had a lot of investment recently from Sandals and other like locals themselves that have like built more sustainable, cheaper, what's it called? Airbnb accommodations and stuff like that. But then that's still, so I think like more flexible pay plans. Because for me, I've gone away and I've always paid for my flights in cash. I've saved up. I haven't paid it off in a pay plan because there ain't really many affordable pay plans that, like a loan that you can pay into and say, oh, this is going to be a holiday saving up fun thing. Yeah. And then when you've reached that $4,000, you're like, now I can book everything and you've got the cash to go. Whereas a lot of people tend to take a loan or, use other finances and then they got to come back and pay it off when they get back and stuff. So it depends on your circumstances, how you're able to be flexible when it comes to traveling. It's like for me, I've always kind of been able to afford to travel either every 10 years or every 5 to 6 years. And really, that's not enough because I've only been away 4 times in total, but every time I've gone away, it's been for like 3 months, 4 months. So the last time I was in Grenada, 2019, I was there for 3 months, just under 3 months. So, yeah, I feel like that's the only way we're going to utilize going back home and traveling back home is when we're staying there longer than 2 weeks, so that we can start integrating with the locals, and then the locals will be like, "Nah, man, I want to take you there because you're a nice person." And you're like, "Oh, free this, all right." And then all they really want is for you to buy a crate of beers. You know, buy a crate of beers for everybody to drink, and they're content with that. So I think when you're there and you're able to integrate more with the locals, that's how we can benefit more with traveling around the Caribbean.
I think I agree with that, actually. And I think it's important. I love the idea of spending longer periods of time, because I do think the amount of money that you spend for a ticket to then go for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it just, I don't know. I agree with you. As long as possible.
I realize, when you book villas and stuff like that, and personal accommodations, sometimes the longer you stay there, it becomes cheaper. Because I remember my experience the last couple of weeks, the man said, "No, man, don't worry about it. Place clean." I paid the electric bill while I was there. I paid for the water. So, it was like the person just saw, oh, she's a nice person. She's just here with her son on holiday. And then he nice. And in the end, he just dropped off 2 weeks payment, for the place I was staying at. So, yeah.
So keep it local. One of the innovative ways that we can deal with travel and tourism is to put, that's putting money into the hands of our people in the Caribbean. What do other people think of what Sister Elena said?
No, I love what Elena was saying there, man. And especially in regards to the expenses of traveling to the Caribbean. Sometimes it is ridiculous, man. So that's something that we do need to look at changing.
Yeah. And what about you? Have you got any recommendations for how it could change?
Well, my recommendation is partly what I'm doing here today, or what we're doing here today. That's the step that I'm taking in this whole thing, basically, or part of the step. And then hopefully just allowing other people to share the platform, bring their ideas, and and we can move forward as a team.
Okay, so we need some more teamwork. We need to put money in the hands of locals and think about how can we reduce the cost of flights, because and also the cost of accommodation, because if we find ways to stay at local places, perhaps that will be cheaper, because obviously those big hotels and those resorts are not very cheap. And also, slightly off the topic, but do they benefit anyone in the Caribbean? Sandals and the likes, those big resorts and hotels like, I don't know, Hyatt and Hilton and all of these places. The money does not go to our community. So if we're thinking about being innovative, we need to think about what is travel and tourism, what are we trying to achieve as well. I don't know. Sister Elena made some really good points. I don't know if anyone else would like to chip in. I've got Sister Dione, who just joined. I don't know if you want to make a contribution, perhaps. Or
greetings and peace.
Greetings.
I'm just listening in. Thank you.
Okay. Brother Matthew.
Last time I see Matthew, just now, I know he was.
Greetings, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Greetings.
I'm hearing some really good topics at the moment, which I agree with 100%. The prices that we encounter when we go back home. Someone was saying the resorts and all that. That is why personally, from me, for someone from Trinidad, I would like to have a resort home. I have it in a plan as well. I have the land, but it's just to get the money now. And when our next thing too is as someone was saying, depending on your situation in London, some people come to London 20 years ago and already established. I'm only here, let's say, 8 years, and it take me a really long time to get my visa and all these other things. So we are faced with a lot of discrepancies, you know. That's why now I kind of focusing on the import export to deal with the food is a way that we could bring money to the communities back home and obviously get cheap food over here. So our restaurants could sell reasonable, make more money for themselves. So that is one of my main aspects are the travel. Because if we have in the travel industry with the plane or whatever, we could have reasonable prices. And as I say, I myself, I want to have a resort in the country. Yeah, so when you hear these big names like Hilton and you have to pay 5,000 for the week, yeah, you could come by Ras Hope, keep that money and come by Ras Hope Resort. I will just charge you a little 1,000, you know. So yeah,
Well, I mean, in
so,
all seriousness, that's really important that we actually have places that are run by us.
definitely.
For us.
But
I mean, because this is again why I threw out the question is like, who really benefits from Hyatt and Hilton and Sandals and all of these things?
yeah, well, none of our people benefit, you know. Just putting back money in the rich man pocket. So I was saying we had to do that. We can't expect nobody in Trinidad to really do that. People are doing it, but do we have access to their information? Like recently I was speaking to someone back home. They say they want to buy a fleet of vehicles because they have a resort in Tobago. Yeah, so when they have the vehicles now and people come to Tobago or Trinidad, they don't have to go anywhere else to get a vehicle to travel around the country, and it will be reasonable as well. And then we also had to know what's going on in the economy as well. As we see the Brexit is something that affects our traveling. Some people ain't go travel because they hear they have to get vaccine. Me not take vaccine, Rasta not take vaccine, Rasta not stay inside. All these things, you know. So, but yeah, I think we're going on the right track here with this forum. And give thanks for all the innovators and all the people with the scientific background, and that can help. We need to see these people more because it's a kind of segregation thing, you know. Because it's like they say you rise your vibration, so you don't want to deal with these people down here. And that is why it have a big gap now. It's a class. It come like a class war. This one don't want to deal with this one because they feel they're more spiritual or they have more money. So there are a lot of things we have to deal with. But starting the project is very important. And people would see, yes, we on the right track. And they would include, because some people just waiting to see a good idea and either steal it or include, bring the money and invest. And that is what we're doing with each other. We're not investing with each other. But if a rich man, or let me say, I don't like to say white man, but because all are is the same thing, it's just different shades. So that is our next perspective we have to change. So there's a lot of perspective had to be adding to
maybe that's a topic for another show, actually.
Yeah, that was saying. I ain't go into that. I ain't go that
because there's a lot to go into unpack when we come to that situation. I have a lot of different
perspective that I think will boost the Black community. Yeah, because if we keep on looking for strength from outside ourselves, we ain't gonna get our strength. I didn't want no university and thing, you know. And the kind of strength I just get in myself to do certain little things. I came to England and I to me, right now I'm doing well because a lot of people come to England and lose faith. When back home, they wasn't getting the support. We don't have much support out here. Let's say the High Commission. What the High Commission really doing for we? You understand? They're doing we know they're doing things because government have a lot of work to do. We know that. But the people now have to include themselves. You can't just
Yeah.
expect the government to do every single thing. Because the government not
No.
living in your community. That is why I emphasize on community development and self-help.
Well, I mean, is that what, most people do? And it's probably, I'm wondering if that's basically what you did. You just found your community. And that's how you kind of got yourself to, because, I migrated here, but I was 11, so I was a child. But there's still that whole process of when you come to a country, you have to learn so many things. You have to learn
Exactly.
the way they speak. I mean, in Trinidad, we speak English, but really we speak Trinidadian because the English we speak.
I would not change. I would not
Yeah,
change.
we exactly.
Yeah,
We use
yeah.
a different. So you got to learn that the way they pronounce things. I remember when I came here, I saw. This Chiswick. I would have said Chiswick. Everybody's like, no, it's Chiswick. And then there's so many words that the English
Yeah,
pronounce.
but they know what you mean, though. They know
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to learn how to speak, then you have to learn to get around the place, and you have to learn to deal with the food, and there's so many different things. So it is relocating is a job in itself.
Relocating is a very, very difficult thing, spiritually, mentally, physically.
Definitely.
Especially when we don't have the support. Yeah, sometimes a man might become homeless in England here, and he don't even know where to go. He don't have nobody to call. He don't. Yeah, and so it's a whole heap of thing. But the travel thing, we need that travel thing, because people want to travel back to the Caribbean more. We want to be.
We really need to have something that we run, and we need a RAS. What is it? RAS Hope Resort.
Yeah, RAS Hope Resort. With, yeah, so a lot of things, man. Me give thanks to the forum, and everybody have an idea, so we want to hear other people too. I don't want to take up too much time. Give thanks.
Give thanks for your contribution, brother.
Queen,
thanks.
That's it.
So, who hasn't spoken yet? We have Sam. Sorry. We have Lydia. Oh, Zoom user is a new person who's joined. Would you like to perhaps make a comment on what we're talking about? Innovation in travel and tourism, different ways of doing things. We've had contributions where we've spoken about staying with local people, putting money in the hands of our community. And you would have heard brother just speaking then about the RAS Hope Resort. In other words, it's another way of putting money back in our pockets, into our community. Making flights cheaper. Yes, sister.
In regards to what Matthew said in regards to the RAS Hope, I think that's a brilliant idea, because I think even if we can afford the flights, sometimes it's the accommodation that bites the bullet. Yeah. So if there was cheaper local, when you go into the locals where they are giving you the accommodation, they're giving you a set price, and that you're going to buy food, or that family is going to cook food for you and provide you with breakfast, and you're already supplying them a little bit of money to get 2 groceries for whatever supplies they're using. It works out cheaper than even paying one of, like you said, Hilton or Sandals or one of those big resorts. Because for me, obviously, where my dad is from in Grenada, in Guave, I got a lot of family who they built homes on land that my granddad had. There's just one house, but then we've got another little bed sit, and then there's a few other people around. But if you know them and you speak to the family, they'll be like, yes, come, just book your flights. But it's more of a family thing at the moment that you use amongst yourselves. Or if you've got a friend who's going there, you'll be like, oh, I've got a family member. But a lot of people that you speak to and you suggest that you've got a family member that's got a little apartment, but you can't bun weed dance, or whatever you're feeling. Let me not say that on here, but I mean, but you may want to stay somewhere else, but you just, stay with them for a cheaper price. But a lot of people want to go for that image of what they sell to us when we go on holidays, and big, it's this fancy dream that they're selling you, instead of you actually just going and being amongst the people and having a good time, So I do think the local accommodation, and they have a set cheaper price, that would even benefit that local person that lives there, has got their children going to school there, whatever their circumstances, it will benefit them, then it benefiting it going to Hilton and Sandals, you know?
But also, do you feel that like we would benefit from that? Well, the people traveling will benefit as well from
Yeah.
staying in
Yeah.
the heart of the community, kind of grassroots, rather than being
Be
in
able
some
to go-
hotel.
we would be able to go back more, because if you knew, say, you could just pay for flight and you have somewhere to lay your head when you land on the other side, and all they're asking for you is to just pay for supplies or buy a little shopping, give them their little 200, you know what I mean? That's it, and it's cheaper. You would be able to go back more, you know, and then you're still amongst either family or friends or local people that are actually able to take you out and have an authentic experience, you know, because I've stayed in Sandals in Grenada when I was like a teenager, and it's for 2 weeks, and we was there for 3 months. So my dad took me there the first 2 weeks to give us and then I remember as soon as I came out the hotel, I was like, I forgot about the hotel. I never want to stay in a hotel again. I prefer that was my experience anyway. I know some people like those comfortabilities, you know, and those luxuries. I don't
I
blame
hear you, sis.
For us to be able to go back more often, we got to try and look at how we can access the local people. So yeah, I'm
keeping it local, grassroots.
yeah.
Dione, you had your did you want to speak? And then we've got Brother Matthew there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, greetings.
Greetings.
Yeah, what sis was saying about like staying local, I mean, that's kind of what I did when I went to Jamaica. Like the first time I stayed with my cousin's friend, and then I just gave her a change. You know, it's like all right, they call it, it's basically like an Airbnb. It can be advertised to the local communities, and you know, it's beneficial for everybody. It's beneficial for everybody, you know. I think it's a fantastic idea.
So you could even imagine, sis, you could set up like
A website.
Yeah. And then we would have you'd network within the different Caribbean islands.
Basically.
Where we all come from, because I was talking to Sister Elena earlier. She's from part Vincentian and part Grenadian. And I was saying, like, my daughters are half Trinidadian and half Dominican, you know. So there's a lot of us that have got a foot in both different islands. And then I suppose, yes, create our own version of Airbnb.
Absolutely. You know, you could there's so many different ways you could do it, and to keep the costs down as well. Do you know what I mean? But as you said, it's networking, you know, with social media, with the way that we can connect with people. It just needs somebody to organize it and promote it locally, you know?
Yeah.
And it's would you think to make money?
Do you think you like your friends, your people and them would be interested, would be keen to, like, you know, Elena was saying that, like, for example, people want to travel more, for example, and they don't get a chance to travel enough. Do you think it might encourage people to travel more? And do you think people would do that, would be interested in that?
I think so. And I mean, you know what, yeah? Like, this was how we used to do things back in the day. We would travel and we would go and stay in people's houses. Do you know what I mean? And it's just bring it back, man. Bring it back. You know, just bring it back. Because how else are we going to connect with our people if we're not staying local?
Yeah.
And help build.
Yeah, exactly.
And help build. You know? Because I'm sure, boy, the amount of Airbnbs that I see out there, and when you look at the owner, you're like, really? Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, I was just about to say that the Airbnb, they take a little charge, isn't it, for every booking? Whereas if somebody was able to trust their fellow neighbor with a recommendation to say, yes, my cousin, she have a me. Trust me, let me say it up, because you're helping your cousin, even by you linking that person to your cousin with that accommodation, you're still helping your cousin. So every time you go back home, you're seeing your cousin elevate.
There you go.
Better position also. So it's also helping you by recommending, say, for instance, your cousin's accommodation as well. Do you know what I mean?
It can work. It can work, because you know what? Even if it's like, oh yeah, I see it can work. You know, at the end of the day,
I mean, look, we're
if
building
money
a
was not an
business
object,
already.
I'll go to the Caribbean and promote it. But what, you know, I will. If somebody wants to sponsor me to do that, trust me, I'll leave my job today.
Right. Okay. We have to think
100%.
about that one.
100%.
Rob, so brother, Matthew, you had your hand up earlier. Did you want to contribute?
I just wanted to add a bit of experience to what everyone was saying there, but it wouldn't be Trinidad. I went to Trinidad at a time for 2 weeks, yeah. I ended up missing my flight, yeah, because I never really travel in the morning, because it was a connecting flight to Antigua, and from Antigua we leave like normal time, 6 o'clock in the evening. But I had to leave 6 o'clock in the morning. But I was so glad I missed that flight. Yeah, that was the best flight I ever missed in my life. Yeah, I stayed home three months. I ended up staying home 3 months. Yeah, and it was a real good experience. But pertaining to the price, I've been to Ethiopia at a time. And when I reached Ethiopia to get accommodation, it was like 200 US a night.
What?
Yeah, 200 US a night. And you know what? It was a Trinidad hotel, you know, a Trinidad man around the hotel, which I really, really wanted to stay there because it's a Trinidad man. But when I hear the price, I say, but this man is really catering for Trinidadians when he come here. You know, so it's kind of the same concept back home. You know,
Wow.
and when
$200.
Yeah, when we go with
So I
the
have
locals,
to shake my head in shock. Yeah, go
ma'am,
on.
when we go with the locals, guess how much we pay? £2 a night. £2 a night. So sometimes is some people just on the money thing. You understand? Some people just want to make money, but people void the morals in these things that encourage other people to include themselves. Because when, as they say, if you go back home and you could only get things above the price. Yeah. At time I go home unexpected for a funeral. Yeah. I didn't have much money. I now pay my rent and all kind of. I only had £100 and was waiting for a pay. But when I go home, I play in big shot because Trinidad get real expensive, eh? Trinidad get real expensive. I think I used to pay $2 for is $15 and thing now.
Oh, I hope the doubles hasn't gone up, you know.
But doubles are not gone up. Doubles is £5 for one, $5 for one. Yeah. I remember when we could have buy 2 doubles for £1 and two doubles. I'm telling you, it's really ridiculous with prices. So inflation is a serious thing in the country as well. It's not just, we in England and we have a certain amount of pounds, but inflation. Yeah.
But you see, but this is
up.
why the things that yourself and Sister Elena and Dione were talking about creating almost our own travel tourism system is important. Definitely. Because people can, if you do it in that way, the way that's being described, you can circumvent a lot of all of that inflation business and all of that business, because really what you're doing is you're dealing on a local level with local people.
And you're bringing back the money in the community.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one of the things, I see a piece of statistics they have about tourism in Trinidad, yeah? I think they say from 2018 to 2019, yeah, in tourism, they spend 28.4 billion pounds. Yeah, that's how the
what? Hang on, sorry, brother. Who spent 24.8 billion pounds?
That is in the tourism industry. That is the amount of money they make. Yeah.
In this country.
Yeah.
From tourism.
28.4 billion pounds. Yeah, and the biggest market it have at the moment, bigger than tourism, is food.
Right.
And so I think we have to kind of look around these areas as well, the accommodation and the food. Yeah, because these are the biggest.
So now I'm thinking to add to this budding enterprise that's being created here, this new innovative enterprise. You've got people staying with local people. So the circular economy, the money's going back. And then you've got networks of local restaurants and places
Exactly.
that local people own. So then those people are taken to eat there.
Yeah, you
So
want
that
to eat your
becomes
local food.
a really sort of sustainable grassroots kind of tourist package.
True.
Mm.
People
Very
want to eat the local food.
I can't.
Yeah, because you know what it's like. I mean, I can't talk for the rest of the Caribbean. I've gone to a few islands, but I don't, you know, my place I know best is Trinidad. That's my country. So, you know, but I know that people we know, or local people will know where the roti shop is, where the double stand is, where the local, you know, guy selling the best coconuts is. And, you know, all the things that the community there know in every place, they can share that. Tourists can benefit from getting, you know, reasonable prices rather than the tourist places.
True.
You know, the downtown places.
And one aspect we had to look at as well is the Notting Hill Carnival, yeah? When you look at the Notting Hill Carnival, I've been to Notting Hill Carnival so much time. I don't even want to go. I started work. I work because when I look at it, I couldn't see no doubles. I want to eat a doubles bad. I ain't saying it didn't have, you know. It have. But it's how much? Yeah, I see one lady eating a roti. I had to run over and ask the family, where you get a roti? Because I don't want to eat no jerk chicken. I want to eat a roti. Because that is carnival. And carnival is about doubles and roti and a little whatever you might drink, and you know. So even me and Atiba was even trying to see what happening for this carnival or for any future carnival to bring a more Trinidad presence into carnival, because we love all the Caribbean islands.
That's a really interesting point. A very interesting point. Because I live in the Notting Hill Carnival area and I've been here for like over 30 years now. And so I'm part of all that community, all that goes on around there. Yeah. And this whole thing comes up a lot about, you know, what carnival is over here. And I suppose we've almost come to the conclusion now that this Notting Hill Carnival is a London carnival. It's not a Trinidad.
It's a London carnival.
Yeah, because it was started by Trinidadians.
Yeah.
Trinidadians. It was you know, who were on the streets, but Ross Henderson being the main person, you know, but it's now much more of a London carnival. So you've got Ghana corner, this corner, and Brazilian.
Yeah, you don't see a
so we have Trini corner, but you're right. It's not. And then some people are complaining. Even my daughter, who's like 29, she's stewards at the carnival, and she said a lot of people complaining there's not enough traditional carnival stuff going on. Definitely. Not enough soca music and stuff. So It's interesting that you raised that, you know. And again, I suppose when people go to the Caribbean, they're going to be in a much more authentic carnival than you know, in that sense, because this is London carnival. You've got all, and actually, to be honest, if you look at the mixture of people at the carnival now, it's predominantly white people. That's another thing.
We don't mind that, you know. We don't mind that, you know. Let it come and spend the money, but we want to see more.
I'm just saying that it's not. We can't claim it to be like
a Trinidad carnival.
Yeah, like what it was when it started in the late 60s and even the 70s when the sound systems came in. And that's the other thing. The sound systems, Leslie, when he brought in the sound systems in the early 70s, that really changed the dynamic.
Yeah.
Before that, it was really steel pan and mass band, and you know. But now it's, you know, so. But that's important as well to think about when we think about tourism and when we think about travel, what do we associate with a country or an island, and at what time of year? You know, is there particular times of year? Like I am always going on about Borough Day, because I prefer Borough Day in many ways to even to Carnival, because I love pan.
Sure.
So, you see what I'm saying? So different people might think, you know, if you're creating some sort of enterprise, you might be thinking when people encouraging people to go at certain times, you know.
True. And our next endurance as well, I think I hear a lot of people complaining about the bands not getting their due pay. They're not getting pay. Some people
look, you know what, brother? I'm going to tell you honestly, you see all this money business, it's probably another conversation for another time, because it goes so deep. There's so much stuff about this funding and that funding and stuff. I will completely lose track, but that's a good topic, because anything that comes up, I think we should focus more on the innovation of travel and tourism and how we can create our own methods of doing tourism, of traveling. I mean, ideally, we want our own airlines, but let's see. Sister Deoni, do you want to come in? I noticed you took off your mic.
I mean, thank you, sis. What about is it too late for, oh my gosh, sorry, I can't remember the name, to have a float at Carnival?
No, not at all. Like
Maybe
at
that's
Notting Hill
something-
Carnival.
At Notting Hill Carnival, yeah.
No, it's not at all. Not at all. No, easy. I mean, as long as you've got the information, the requirements. Yeah, of course you can have one. You just basically rent a truck, don't you? One of those trucks, whatever, and they.
Okay.
But actually, some people even don't even have they have the non, the walking ones with no trucks.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a lot of work. Whoever's pulling the thing, but it's like more, I suppose, eco-friendly is probably what you call it.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yes, what were you thinking?
Just promotion. Promotion.
Of an
promotion
idea
of the
like
brand.
this.
Yep.
Mm.
Promotion. Just promotion.
So maybe
I
at
don't know.
Tiba.
I just throw things out there. Sorry.
So what do you reckon, sis? Do you think Atiba should get a global destinations float for Notting Hill Carnival and get a bunch of people from the Diamond Round Table to come on board and to promote the kind of budding or seeds of an idea of having a much more grassroots, people-led, sustainable kind of tourism and travel set up?
Why not? And I'm pretty sure it can get funded.
Right.
Somehow.
Okay.
Somehow we can make a fund out of it. I'm pretty sure.
Right. So that's a really good suggestion. So now I'm gonna have to bounce it to the man himself. The visions, Atiba.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just intrigued by what you all are saying, man. It's beautiful. It's good energy, man. Yeah, what's it called? In Notting Hill Carnival, every single year, even if you go Ladbroke Grove now, you see my logo on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of what's happening in Carnival, my logo is gonna be there anyway. Like, if I can get a truck or not, my logo and brand will be there. But yeah, what's it called? That's another idea anyway. And yeah, I'll take it on board, write it down, and boom. But yeah, like the owning of the airlines and the travel and the tourism, that's what I'm more interested in and intrigued in, to be honest. You get me? Carnival, I've done that so many times as well. So now, like, yeah, my focus is the airlines now, man.
Okay, so we want to be more bold, more powerful. San or Karina or Zoom user, would you like to chip in? Have you got anything to add to this intriguing conversation? Stimulating conversation, or maybe not so much intriguing, maybe stimulating. San, you had your camera on earlier. Would you like to say something? Karina? I feel awful having to call your names out, but great greetings, Sam, brother. Would you like to say something?
Greetings. Yeah, it's a beautiful conversation, lovely subject, a lot of good ideas, and I think everyone should take the ideas on board, work as a team, and yeah, of course, make things happen. Action speaks louder than words. So we take the ideas, but we need to action them. We need to put in work. That's the only way they're going to work. Build platforms, look at websites, have ideas, brainstorm. Work together. Teamwork makes the dream work.
I mean, have you got some suggestions about how we could, if we were going to do something like this, and if Atiba is doing more that, yeah.
We're discussing the only way it's probably a web platform, something technological, something that can get a lot of different interconnections together, like a lot of resources that can create accounts and register themselves, and then say, yes, we have this property available, we want to rent it out. Something like what even the Airbnb companies doing, but a local sort of site that others can utilize, create accounts, and local people can use. It will take a lot of work, a lot of resources, a lot of hours, but like I said, you need a team for it. There's no I in team as well, so no one can do it individually. So yeah, so get cracking.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Karina or Zoom user?
Can I just say in regards?
Sis, come back in, sis.
Yeah, sorry. Can I just in regards to the having your own flights, yeah, your own plane, yeah, your own airline,
Mm.
aviation. What about, like, because learning to become a pilot, even though it's out there, it's not really accessible, except like not a lot of kids will think, oh, you can go to college and study how to become a pilot. You got to go to a specific, school, pilot school, to learn to fly a
Oh.
plane. But even for us to have airlines, it's kind of got to start as well with people that are training to be the ones that are going to fly the plane. And maybe those pilots who are investing in their career, investing in, wanting to bring more access maybe to the Caribbean. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, to access to the Caribbean, then maybe the training of the pilots, I don't know, that just came to my head. It might not be, but I just thought, the training the pilots first. Say for instance, there's a team of say 6 pilots, 12 pilots, like young up and coming who have a passion of, like you say, connecting us easier to the Caribbean. Maybe it's a way of training those pilots to maybe be able to invest in gaining their own plane, because a plane costs millions and millions of pounds. So they're going to need a team that maybe the banks and whoever is willing to invest is going to see that these pilots are worthy of investing in, if you know what I mean.
Wow. So pilots would be running their own airlines.
It just regards to, because who's going to fly the plane? It's a pilot.
It's true.
Those pilots have got to be passionate about also flying and connecting those to and from the Caribbean easier, and having more independence that can help the Caribbean in general. I don't know. It just came to me with what was floating around.
Nice.
Seriously, that's amazing. And you
Yeah.
know what? No, seriously, it just, it just makes so much logical sense.
Yeah.
How are we going to make these connections? Who are the next generation of? Is not just, what about boats?
Yeah, boats.
Plane.
My granny and
and
came to England by a boat.
these young people are being trained. They're being trained up now. Where are they being trained?
Yeah.
So that's amazing connections to make right there. Amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Good suggestion.
Yeah,
Would
man.
anybody else like to chip in? How do they feel about these suggestions? Owning our own tourism, being innovative. Sister Jessica, you've taken off your mic. Did you want to speak? Hello? Okay. Anyone else wanted to?
It seems like Jessica's thing had logged out, but it's logged her back in now.
Okay, maybe.
Mm.
Her phone had logged out. Yes, sorry, did it someone there's 2 Sister Jessicas there. Would one of you like to contribute? Is that why the mic's off? Or is that because she's been logged out again? No?
Oh, it looks like she's got two
Yeah, she's been logged out.
2 Zooms that's on there.
Brother Ty, you've got your camera on. Do you want to chip in and give some feedback? We're talking about innovative ways of doing travel and tourism, really. What can we do differently to benefit our community? We've been talking about staying with local people, like setting up our own version of Airbnb. And now Sister Elena's come up with the idea of a pilots collective to look at how we, lower the price of flights, etc. Do you have any ideas, or would you like to say anything?
Well, I think we're going into a new day and age now at the minute. And I think one thing that might help people with the idea of visiting countries that they may have an interest in, especially the Caribbean islands, is maybe to tap into the way the world is heading into now. So maybe looking at stuff like a virtual display of the Caribbean, like maybe, I don't know, like just setting up a virtual world. As in, like, someone has a camera, they go around, maybe got a 360 camera that actually lives in the Caribbean, and we set up like a visual display. Maybe that would even entice people to look at different target locations and be like, look, this is definitely a place to visit. And then they can see it in a visual sense. And then have more of an interest in sort of flying out.
Wow, okay. So you're looking at it from like the PR kind of.
From the marketing, yeah. To give you a bit of understanding of who I am, I'm Tyrone. I'm one of Ativa's longtime people, but I work mainly in the media field. So I do marketing and advertising and that kind of stuff. So from my angle, I'll be looking at sort of if my contributions really would be sort of like drawing people in and what ways to market it and stuff. So
and how do you think you market? Because obviously Airbnb's done well, but realistically, I mean, a lot of the conversation started about the fact that, for example, staying in the Hilton or the Hyatt or Sandals or one of these things does not put any money in the hands of local people. It doesn't help the economy locally. It goes into the hands of multinational corporations, etc. So, even Airbnb's become very corporate now. And, but imagine that what was put forward by people here was the idea of A, owning our own resorts that were owned by our own people, but also B, staying with local people in their homes. Yeah. And so that money's then it's going into a circular economy. I mean, how would you kind of market something like that, do you think?
I guess I would probably say just go down to the basics, because to do stuff like Airbnb, what made it sort of fly off the handle was the fact that it was done by local people, and it was very easy to access. You literally had your space, you could put it forward. I think it would have to go back to that level of interpersonal relationships where you create almost like a brochure of families and housings that would be applicable for people to say, yeah, I'd like to live with you guys. So that way you create almost like a at home with the Joneses sort of situation, where you display what they do day to day, what their normal lifestyle is, the different type of meals that they have, what's locally accessible, what they do on their day outs, like the seaside, the beach, that type of stuff, and make it a little bit more sort of interpersonal in a sense where maybe you have like a Instagram page or a Facebook page or somewhere where or a completely new website, so that the money stays completely in and around the company, and sort of like market it that way. Be like, look, this is welcome to my home sort of thing, as a display sort of thing. What was the place that what did they do on, what was it, MTV Cribs? Where they yo, come and have a look.
That was more like showing off.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Showing off big rich people's houses.
I say rich, but it could be the average Joe, because that way you can also look at different target audiences. You could look at an older family, and you could go down to sort of the younger generation or even the richer. But then I think that creates a level of interpersonalness, and it makes people understand people from a face value. And then, then you can sort of like create some kind of currency transfer where it goes directly to the family, and then the cut goes to the presenting channel, for instance, the presenting website. I think that makes a bit more of a link. Yeah,
because with PayPal, that's quite easy to do actually these days.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the Caribbean are using PayPal as well.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yes, I think it's good to have people on who have that professional background. Think about it from the different angles, because I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? With anything, with innovation, you've got to look at it from so many different angles. If you imagine an object on the floor and it's got like 8 sides or something, I don't know, what do you call those things? Not octagons, but things with lots of sides. Anyway, and you're looking at it because there's so many different perspectives to this, but they're all valid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's really good to have good teamwork as well, like good people to, like you said, It's strange, isn't it? Because they say too many cooks can, too many
Spoil
chefs
the broth.
can spoil the broth. But in something like this, you kind of need as many sort of sub minds around as possible.
But it's not a broth, you see. It could be. It's more like a 7-course meal or something.
Yeah.
And each person prepares one. You know, one person does a fruit thing, and another person's doing like a vegetable this, and somebody's cooking.
Right.
I mean, I'm plant-based, but for those of you who aren't, somebody's cooking some chicken, and somebody's cooking a some kind of, I don't know,
Side
dish, and then somebody's doing some bread, making some hops bread, and you know what I mean? It's like, it's a meal. It's more than that. That's what you want. You know, you want lots of contributions and lots of input, because you've got lots of talent. You know, Sister Jessica, were you wanting to say something earlier when your phone was, your camera was going on and off?
No, hi everyone. What it is, I tried to log in and then I couldn't hear you guys, so now I can hear you perfect.
Yeah, greetings. Did you want to make a contribution to our talk about innovation in the travel and tourism industry for us in the Caribbean, and obviously between the Caribbean and us here in the diaspora?
Well, just really what other guy was saying, really the same about the PayPal and stuff like that. Having PayPal is a good connection worldwide for like loads of things, like even just like setting up a business and stuff like that from London to the Caribbean. Like I think that's good as well.
Great, thank you. Please feel free to jump in and say anything as we're saying. But Matthew, brother, your hand is up.
Yeah, well, I kind of waiting for people to I'll just take 5 minutes because I already speak a lot. But I have a question for Atiba as well. I know you have been promoting this airline for some time now, yeah. And obviously, we don't have the finance, yeah, because starting a airline is finance intensive, yeah. We know we can't get the funding, yeah. I want to know how far have you reached in approaching the appropriate organizations to get the funding, or even we talking about, all right, fuel, yeah. Airlines need fuel. We need, what type of planes are we going to use, yeah. So and the next thing is the availability of the people are traveling, and the weather. All these is things that they're considering in starting up an airline. Yeah, if we are going to just be doing Trinidad or just the whole Caribbean, what size of plane? And coming to many people in the pot. When you're doing a bit, like, all right, if we're doing a event, yeah, we can't do the cooking because we are the organizers. We can't do the cooking, so we have to actually hire an organization, yeah, to deal with the cooking. So all right, you hire the organization of pilots. Because we ain't had time to go, and we can't go to no school to learn no pilot. So we don't want to be no pilot. Yeah. So we had to look at these avenues of the, like we say, Boeing or one of these airlines that have, as the lady was saying as well, there's a lot of pilots organizations that you could hire, because there's a lot of hiring here. You have to hire everything. Yeah, to get the thing going, you have to.
So basically, I mean, essentially, it's coming back. I think a couple of sessions ago, we spoke about chartering. So we're almost talking about chartering in this instance.
Yeah,
chartering flights and that sort of thing. Yes.
So getting the professionals to deal with their profession. Yeah, obviously, Caribbean destination. That's the name probably of the plane or the organization or whatnot that we're going to be using. Yeah. So yeah. I think it have like aviation, the aviation part of it, the airspace is the next thing you have to get into. Is a lot of things. And let we consider how much Trinidadians let me say Trinidadians in London. In London, there should be like 23,000 Trinidadians. Yeah. There's over 200 and something thousand Caribbean people living in Britain. London, to be perspective.
So, brother, how do you know how many Trinidadians there are in London?
No, well, obviously, if you're dealing with things, you have to find out the statistics, how things go, you know. Is
Wow.
approximately 22,000 and something. And it have more Jamaicans in London from the Caribbean than anyone else. That is why we're looking
we
at
know that, yeah.
Carnival. When we see Carnival, we only hear in dance hall. Yeah, that is why. Because
yeah,
it's
they're a bigger-
something
yeah.
thousand, it's 100 and some thousand Jamaicans living in London. So it exceed the amount of Trinidadians that we had to deal with. So this is a consideration as well. Yeah, so we had to
Okay.
know if we go in just to Trinidad or we want to open to obviously it's Caribbean destination.
Yeah,
so
it's
we go in
everybody.
to the
It's
Caribbean,
everybody,
yeah. So all this it's just
Because we all-
idea.
Sorry, we also want to promote interconnectedness between the
Exactly.
Caribbean
Yeah.
and like relationship building amongst Caribbeans as well.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had to all this is a good scope as well. So yeah,
Thank
I fully for this thing, and personally, I would have to start to do some more research on it because a lot of things have been left out. A lot of things are being left out, and if we have to ask non-professionals about professional stuff, we would take forever to formulate a plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give thanks. And Sam, brother, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I would just like to say is a lot of the concepts. What we're forgetting about is we do have AI technology now, so just someone that can actually do a bit of AI coding. A lot of the platforms can be automated, you know, something like that. So we don't have to. It doesn't have to take too much energy to be put it in. You just need someone with that right set mindset that knows AI, coding, know how to automate things, and it's just going to be easy, much easier. You just have an automated platform. There's a lot of, at the moment, AI is the biggest thing and is the biggest generator in technology at the moment. So I think we should definitely get involved in that, and that can definitely solve a lot of issues and automate a lot of things, make it so much easier for platforms. You don't even need a human to do a lot of the platform activity. You know, it can all be automated and generated as long as you know the coding and the sequencing.
Wow.
As you say AI, there would be pilotless planes soon. So we also have to consider.
Most of the airlines are pilot. They're not pilotless, but all they do is take off and they land. Most of the time in the air is autopilot.
Yeah, it's also
they don't do nothing. They just lift up the plane and they don't want to take over in an emergency.
True.
Okay.
So the things can be autopiloted.
Well, that's some other considerations. So I mean, I think where we've got to so far, I'm just aware that we're coming up for 10 o'clock, is that we've had some really interesting conversations about taking control, really using, in terms of innovation, it's all very much about actually self-reliance here. It's about taking control for ourselves, our travel and tourism needs, the needs of us in the diaspora and the Caribbean, and how do we connect ourselves to local people. You know, like the sisters were saying, like, you know, stay with local people in their houses. I really loved as well what the talk that Brother Ty was talking about, actually, in terms of the PR kind of side of things, how you could showcase and kind of celebrate how local people live, their homes, what it's like, spend time, longer periods of time, get to know the Caribbean better, set up our own resorts. I mean, even as much as thinking about having our own pilots and our own planes, chartering flights. So there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there. So I'm going to hand over to Atiba now, because he is the man with the vision. He is Caribbean Global Destinations. Visit, TNT, all the various platforms he's involved in. And I mean, really, this is your thing. So, like, brother, can I hand over to you? And I want to thank him.
Blessings,
for listening to
Isis.
me.
Blessings, Isis, and everyone who's attended today. Thank you for all who have given your contribution. Also as well, everyone else who weren't able to or didn't speak, just do feel free to come again next week.
Just be here.
And join in, and obviously do feel free to obviously give your contribution, whether small or big. Like just taking some notes from today's session, just integrating with the locals, spending longer periods of time, the expenses of traveling, more teamwork, reduce the cost of flights, who really benefits, no to vaccine, give thanks to the innovators, relocating spiritually, mentally, and physically, Ras Hope Resort, cheaper flights, cheaper accommodation, staying local, Airbnbs, advertising local communities, organize it and promote it, get the local communities, turn the local communities, help build the local communities, our own travel systems, local Airbnbs, accommodation and food, networks of local restaurants, float for Notting Hill Carnival, training pilots, boats and planes, pilots collective, virtual world, interpersonal relationships, at home with the Joneses, welcome to my home, MTV Cribs. I would collate all of this, make a topic for next week. What would be great from everybody is if they can look at probably getting 5 people from your different islands who would be probably interested in sort of doing an Airbnb in their house, and look to try and invite them on to this next week, so that we can sort of move forward with that in mind, basically. That's it.
Great. Wow. Great. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
big
you,
up to
Atiba.
everyone.
Big up to
Thank
Atiba
you.
as well.
Yeah, that was
Look
very
forward to seeing
inspiring.
everyone next week.
Yeah, everyone come on back
Thank
on
you.
next week, man. One love. Salute,
Yeah.
respect, blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Good night.